I think we are online. You can turn on your video. Good evening, viewers. Thank you very much. Let me turn off. Where is it? So there is that saying that you jump and then grow the wings on the way down. So that's what we are learning in terms of technology also. We will make it work. So good evening, dear viewers. Thank you very much for coming to this first Afghan Association of Ontario online program on Islamophobia, racism and discrimination. This program is an initiative of the Afghan Association of Ontario in collaboration with the Government of Canada, who is partially funding the program. And part of the program includes interviews with subject matter experts, as well as members of the community who have experience in the community. They work in the community and they know about Islamophobia, racism, and discrimination. So I welcome today the person that we are going to interview, Husnia Barakzay. She is a community activist from Kitchener-Waterloo area. So Husnia, welcome to this program.
Hi, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words about yourself, your community engagement, and what you have been doing since you came to Canada and started as a community activist?
Yeah, sure. My name is Husnia, so I've been living in the Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario for about 17 years now. I'm proud to say that I've been involved in community volunteer services with various roles and responsibilities for about 15 years, mainly board committees, events, and other non-official title positions that I've held, which were the most rewarding ones, especially the ones that involved children and seniors. And on an educational level, I'm currently occupied with postgraduate education on public health, social justice, as well as mental health and addictions area. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for that introduction. What I would like to ask our viewers is that if this topic is of interest to you, Islamophobia, racism, and discrimination, please share this interview on your social media pages so that more and more people can become aware of it, and that is one of our purpose. So, Husnia, let me ask you my first question. In your stay in Canada, and especially after you started wearing the hijab, I know that when you first came here, you were not wearing the hijab, and then at one time in your development of your career and life, you decided to wear the hijab. Did you face any kind of discriminatory treatment by the people in the workplace, in the marketplace, or in just dealing with people anywhere?
Right. Yeah, that's interesting that you're asking such a personal question. It's a great opportunity to share that with you and the rest of the viewers. Absolutely. On an individual level, I definitely felt the different way of how people treat you just based on one scarf on your head. It's just incredible. You immediately notice, I could give you an example, for instance, the day before I started wearing the scarf on the bus, suddenly people weren't offering a seat anymore. And there were some subtle changes that were not very obvious. The looks, the way people were looking at you were slightly different. And some of them were not intentional or not intentionally harming. but people, because of their perceived perceptions or things that they've seen on the media, just immediately changes their attitude towards Muslims. And being a woman or a visibly Muslim woman is that much harder, I think, absolutely. I mean, I could even give you examples from workplaces that I've worked in. For instance, many years ago, I held a position, a supervisor position, where I was not wearing the scarf at that time. And we were sitting with a few managers and trying to, for instance, hire people. We've got a stack of resumes. And so we're looking through resumes, and one of the managers starts reading the names. And as soon as there's a name, let's say Muhammad, or something else, oh, I can't read this. So there's a separate pile for them. And they start going through the piles like that. That was my first crazy experience with that. And imagine being young at that time. I think I wasn't even at university. Experiencing that was just diminishing the individual, taking their courage, their confidence within the community, about their faith, about what they believe in. It just puts it down immediately. This was just a small example. I could give you a number of examples since the time I started wearing one.
Wow. That's there is a lot of research and papers have been written that this kind of feeling of discrimination and racism is systemic in the Canadian society. And recently, in the past 20 years or so, Islamophobia is a new word that is added to a part of racism that exists in the Canadian society, even on a non-conscious level, that is available, that exists in this society. But a lot of the people are ignoring it. They are not doing anything. As a matter of fact, I just watched an interview with some activists last week, and they had given some statistics that in most of the major provinces in Canada, which has a substantial Muslim population, the number of Islamophobic events that have happened has increased from 2020 to 2021, for which the statistics were available. And perhaps we don't know what is happening now, but lately, if you are aware of, the Canadian government has appointed a special representative for this issue of Islamophobia to tackle the issue. And the government of Ontario is also, especially after what happened last year with the Afzal family in London. So some actions are being taken in order to combat this feeling of hatred towards a particular people, especially the Muslims. I would like to acknowledge a couple of people who are here. There is Asad DK. He is just saying hello. Thank you very much for joining. I hope you will have the opportunity to share this on your social media. And Hasina Jan says, thank you, Durrani Saib and Husnia Jan, for bringing these important issues to our attention. Well, you are welcome, Hasina Jan. We appreciate this kind of engagement from our audience, and we hope that anybody who hears this and listen to this program, they will share it on their social media pages so that more and more people become aware of it. Not only just the Muslim population, but also all those people from the non-Muslim communities, to become aware of that this is an issue in Canada, especially in Ontario, and that even if they haven't paid attention to it, and they might look at it, consciously, to combat it somehow, so that we can have a life full of freedom and freedom of discrimination in this society. So, Husnia Jan, I really appreciate and admire you for your courage that you are coming, to this interview, so you can share your personal experiences with the community and with the Canadians at large. I want to bring a quotation from our Prime Minister when he was talking when they were, at the memorial of the Afzal family in London last month. He said that Islamophobia does not only affect the Muslims, it affects all Canadians. So that's why it is important to bring these issues to the forefront, to make people aware of them, so that we can combat it and actually eliminate it from our lives. I have another question also. You have been active community activist, not only just in the Afghan community in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, but as far as I know, you have been active with other Muslim communities also. So my question is, as a community activist, do you hear about racism, discrimination, and Islamophobia from others in the community? And how big of a problem is this in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, or if you have information, in Canada?
Right. No, that's a very, honestly, I would say it's a complicated question, because there are not many reports have been made to the authorities, or even not enough research done within the Waterloo region. So I think it's a question that's still being held in the air. But there has been some reports that were posted somewhere online by Coalition of Muslim Women, for example, a few years ago, where they have conducted some level of research and review, where they found that Islamophobia is truly on the rise in Kitchener-Waterloo area. It is, and especially on women, because of them being visibly Muslim. And they've also involved organizations such as Waterloo Region Crime Prevention Council, Waterloo Region Police, and we have a few mosques or masjids in the area that are also collaborating and assisting in supporting the cause of preventing or countering Islamophobia. And I think it takes a collective effort to tackle this. There are a number of organizations, so the ones I named are just a few major ones that just come up off the top of my head. But I know that these organizations are evaluating and looking into seeing the extent and the impact of Islamophobia in the Waterloo region.
Very good. Very good that action is being taken and people are becoming more and more aware of it. And this is one of the purposes of this initiative that the Afghan Association of Ontario has taken. And we want to serve the entire Ontario community, especially the Muslims and the neighbors of the Muslims, so that they become aware of also. And I hope in the future programs, we will tackle different aspects of this problem. I'm not sure what you might think, but I would try to characterize Islamophobia, racism, and discrimination as the triangle of evil. I know that some years ago, the triangle of evil was used in political circles for other things, but I think in our society here, in the context of Ontario, these three evils, they create a triangle, and we should try to combat it and do something about it. And hopefully we can collaborate with the government, with the authorities, with the law enforcement community, so that eventually this triangle of evil will diminish and will be eliminated. I have another question also. do the community organizations that you work with have any kind of policy to combat this in the increasing trend in Islamophobia?
Right. Some do, some don't.
Mhm.
Some do in a way, for instance, the ones that have less, they would include, for instance, if there are any newcomers, they would include translation services or interpreter services, but that would be the extent of it. That would be it. Other organizations do promote change or have training workshops for the staff that can become culturally more sensitive and aware. And those are great. And so, what we hope to do is that for most public service organizations or any other public service, or either schools, anyone serving the public, that they are training and educating and raising awareness about issues like Islamophobia, racism, discrimination. And like you mentioned previously, it doesn't have to be just about Muslims. We know that, for instance, after 9/11, the world was shook, and it wasn't just Canada, although Canada was influenced by that as well. And because of that, other communities were influenced, such as the Sikh, which were wearing this the turban, but they're not Muslim, and yet they were targeted. Or Indigenous people within Canada, they are being targeted. Or Arabs who are Christian, they're not Muslim, but because they're Arab, they're being discriminated or affected by racism. So subtle things like that. Again, there's lots of work to be done. Within my workplace, like I said, there's some, so I have a few part-time jobs and full-time jobs. A few do have, a few don't have. So it's give and take.
Mhm. Well, thank you very much. Do they have any policy in place, to advise people who experience Islamophobia and racism? How can they help them? Let's say if I experience and I approach one of these organizations, do they have any kind of a system, a mechanism in place how to help me?
Right. To be honest, they don't. They really don't. I remember when I just first started at one of the works, I didn't even have a place to pray, and I had to create that for the people that were hired after me. And so, yeah, majority of places don't have that, and it takes a few other people to take the courage and to encourage that, to raise awareness. But now that I think of the places I work at, they don't really have that. They do have, some do have, for instance, they would have a general workshop or a training about racism, discrimination, which is helpful. It's still better than nothing, but they don't have specialized ones for specific communities.
Well, thank you for sharing that information. Just for the benefit of the viewers, next Thursday, maybe you can mark it on your calendar. Next Thursday, July 21st at 7 p.m. We are going to have this program again, but the people that I will be interviewing are two police officers from the Toronto Police Services. They will be looking at the issue of racism, Islamophobia, and discrimination from the perspective of law enforcement. And I will be grilling them to give us information about if people who experience in their lives, in the marketplace, in school, in the workplace, some form of racism or discrimination or Islamophobia, what they should do. So please mark on your calendar, and next Thursday, the 21st of July at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, that interview is going to take place. We want these videos to be short so people are not bored with when they look at the recordings of it. I just would like to mention that the recording of this interview will stay on this page. We are not going to remove it, but also by sometime tomorrow, it will also be on YouTube, so people can either watch it there or watch it here. But I think this is a very beneficial interview. Husnia Jan, I really appreciate your courage that you came here, and you are the pioneer in this program. So my last question will be, what would your advice be to other people, especially women who are faced with racism? What should they do, or whom they should contact?
Right, that's a really good question. I mean, we know that Islamophobia is prevalent and present everywhere, online, at public places, education institutions, workplaces, and the fact that political figures who are being openly racist, discriminatory, it gives others the courage to be more racist and more discriminatory. And on top of that, the media depicting Islam and Muslims in a less accurate way, that doesn't help. So mentioning this, the solutions would probably would take three different levels: the government level, the institutional level, and individual level. So the government level, I think for that level would be great for them to establish clear accountability for hate crimes and hate speech. Additionally, I would say create policies that counter Islamophobia on organizational, institutional, and even community leaders. That level, I would say practice the existing Canadian values, because I think Canadian values do match with Islamic values as well. Practice those values and not be selective with people. What I found is that at that level, a lot that we have values established, but we're practicing differently with different people. And so training public service personnel accordingly with culturally sensitive education would help. Promote events or projects that are helping to counter Islamophobia or are more inclusive could also be part of the solution. And on an individual level, I know you mentioned women, I would say speak out. That's the biggest thing, is a lot of people don't speak out, they don't report, and that's an issue. Speak out. Or if you don't know how to speak out, speak to someone who can do it on your behalf. Report, join or support organizations that are working towards eliminating hate crimes, Islamophobia, and that are promoting inclusivity. I think those would be the best thing. And just on an individual level for all Muslims, not just women, I would say represent yourself well. If you truly care, if you want for people to respect you, be a good representation of a human being, of a Muslim, and don't hide. If you've got qualities that are, of a value, go out there and show what you are about, what your values are, so that people become aware of that. And so when we do our part of representing, we collectively help the government and organizations as well. That would be my.
Thank you very much. By the way, there is a person all the way from Australia who is watching this program, and her comment is in Farsi, but I would like to, for the benefit of the rest of the audience, I would like to have a very brief translation of it. What she says is that I think, in her opinion, especially the youth, her message is for the youth, that if the youth have a program of education, they can educate themselves and educate others about the evils of Islamophobia, about evils of racism, discrimination, and not just Islamophobia, but in the Western society, anti-Semitism is also very rampant. So in that case, people who suffer from Islamophobia and from anti-Semitism, they have something in common, and perhaps they can collaborate to fight this evil in the society. Before we go offline, I would like to share the screen for an acknowledgement um, that this program is partially funded by the government of Canada. So that acknowledgement I would like to have with the audience and to make sure that they become aware that this program is the initiative of the Afghan Association of Ontario in collaboration with the government of Canada. And so that poster there, I put it there so that the acknowledgement is seen by everybody. That this is not just that the Afghan Association is feeling, but this is a rampant problem all over Canada, to the extent that the Canadian government is not only partially funding this program, but they have also assigned a special person who is going to tackle the issue of Islamophobia in Canada, so that we can have a more normal life, free of fear, free of discrimination, and free of racist taunts that people might be thrown at us. With that one, I would like to thank you again for your participation in this first interview. And I want to thank all those people who participated as viewers and those who engaged with their comments and with their encouragement. I thank you very much for that. And I hope you will share this program on your social media pages. I know that it's already shared in more than 10 different places from the other place that I know. So the more it is shared, the more people will know about it. And when they become aware, then we can do something positive. So again, I would like to say thank you very much, Husnia Barakzay, for your courage and for your determination as a community activist to work with other people and to help them. Thank you very much. Do you have any last word that you want to say?
No, just thank you so much. I think it's a great initiative to help many, not only Muslims, and I think it will go far and beyond once we all collectively work together.
Yeah, so for the benefit of the audience, if anybody has experienced Islamophobia, racism, or any kind of discrimination in the workplace or in school, and they want to share their story, please get in touch with me through Messenger or by commenting, at this program, and I will reach out, and then maybe we can arrange an interview with you also. So thank you very much for your time, and we are going offline now. So